First, let me read something to you from chapter 1 of this little book called On the Shortness of Life. Look closely at those men whose names are in everyone's mouth. You will find that they are all alike. A is devoted to B and B to C. No one belongs to himself. You never tried to look upon yourself, to listen to your own voice. You should not claim anything from another, because when you were seeking something from them, it wasn't that you wished for their company, only that you could not stand your own. Many of us have been conditioned to believe that spending time reflecting is somehow self-centered, especially when it conflicts with the expectations or needs of others. We live in a world that confuses autonomy with selfishness. Spending time with yourself is the least selfish thing you can do. It's because the quality of your inner life directly affects everyone around you. When you take the time to know yourself, you create space. You respond from a place of balance, awareness, and wisdom, which affects everyone. This is essential, not selfish. Allow me to read this part again. It wasn't that you wished for their company, only that you could not stand your own. Many social norms and conditioning come from psychological traits such as this one, that humans cannot stand their own company. And Pascal would agree. He said, all human miseries derive from not being able to sit quietly in a room alone. And we have somehow normalized that state, that human inability to sit with our minds without being distracted or entertained by something or someone else. Even the whole personal development movement focuses on betterment, but skips the step of sitting quietly and observing. You can't change what you don't know, and you can't know what you can't see, and you can't truly see what you never consciously observed or never painted. So the first step is knowing your own mind, knowing parts of you, both real and unreal. Your purest essence of your being and your ego and ego's tricks. And let's just quickly define ego, simply as a mental representation of yourself. All these parts are contradicting each other, as you may have noticed. Sometimes it seems as if you're working against yourself, and sometimes you're so beautifully aligned and the universe is your friend again. No matter how much you read or learn about your mind, these are, just like this video, just prompts for you to do your own observations. No wisdom will ever require you to believe something you cannot sense or recognize in your own experience. I want us to find a curiosity for deeper knowing rather than just soaking in information, and this requires your dedication over some period of time. It also requires the ability to observe in a non-judgmental way, to be kind to yourself while you are observing your own dysfunction willingly. So if you are in a hurry to change your situation, thinking it will alter your internal experience, you might hesitate to focus your attention on that less tangible path. Observing is such a subtle process that in this highly stimulated world, whole lives can pass without it. Humans haven't truly evolved in how they think, how they use their minds, for thousands of years. As Epictetus said, you can't learn what you think you already know. And our egos stand in the way of the truth. And the truth is simple. We don't know ourselves how to use our minds for the good of our own and others. Allow yourself to just observe for a while, with curiosity and without any intention to change anything. Just observe so you can learn. You might discover a lot of social conditioning, some faulty conclusions, many assumptions that guide you through your days, and learned behavior, thoughts you've heard from someone else or movies, and you have adopted them as your own, even beliefs that contradict your conscious thinking or even level of intelligence. And at first, it might be shocking to observe the dysfunction of the human mind. If that happens, please remember it is not personal. This is how the human mind, more or less, works after it has been conditioned the way it was. It is not you. Secondly, the ability to observe the dysfunction is advanced usage of the mind, because you cannot be what you observe. Thus, you get the opportunity to sense your own awareness with which you are observing your mind. For most people, their whole awareness is soaked in involuntary thinking. They can't sense their awareness. So when you discover your own dysfunction, celebrate. You're seeing something that used to be your blind spot. Don't feel bad about it. As Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. But do you know why that is? It is because the act of observing is the life force itself. If there is no attention to the present moment, the only place real, the only place possible to observe, you're not really there. You're not really living. You're lost. And that's a big loss, because reality, even when it presents a challenge, is a beautiful thing when observed and felt instead of judged by a thinking mind conditioned by a society that doesn't know itself. So now let's get back to entanglement and how people waste their time on it. So let's change that. Let's start observing our entanglement. Let's finally admit that the reason why we have so many social interactions is not always because we love to connect, but because we can't stand the company of our minds. Let's get to know our minds and direct them towards what we truly yearn for in a purposeful way, conscious way, a wise way. Whatever comes from a place of awareness, I assure you, is pure goodness, just like human nature at its core. And that's what will arise when we clean up the dysfunction that has happened due to the absence of observing and the absence of acceptance of reality as it is. In the world we live in, pretending is considered normal and even kind. And this has led us to entanglement where no one owns their life. And everyone is so worried about others as a distraction, not as an act of love. Take that time to sit quietly, reflect, read and observe and gather your unique knowledge from your observations. Not only do you have the right to do so just by being born, but it is also an obligation that each of us shares. This world is in disarray, and much of that chaos stems from a dysfunctional human mind. We can choose to either add to the chaos or add peace. It is a decision we make every day, and we might feel a special kind of anxiety when we are not doing our only true homework, whereas there's a profound sense of peace whenever we are.